All right, hard yarners. We are joined back by Delby after a month away.
Yeah,
in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that really, but it was great to have Delby back. And we're joined by Kepler Bradley, the cult hero of Fremantle Dockers and Essendon Football Club. What do we talk about today?
Yeah. Well, your role at Claremont.
Role at Claremont. Bit about footy, bit about drinking beers, I think.
Off season. There's a ripper story about how Kep got back into the Saint after not
getting
that's
in the Saint. Yeah, cool.
Absolute perler.
Yeah.
Cult heroes and, pretty footy centric.
Yeah.
And a little bit of how you deal mental fortitude of having to train on your own for two months in an AFL environment.
Outstanding. We should also say that this episode this week is brought to you by Lucky Duck Racing. WA.
Yep, WA.
We've got their horse at the moment. And a whole lot of Tasha. That's getting close to... That's trialling, hey?
Yeah. So she'll be ready soon. If you want to get in, you can get 2.5%, 5%, get 1%, whatever. If you just want to jump on board, hit us up and we'll give you some more information. The race days are pretty cool. They're getting great atmosphere around it. And I'm doing Sydney Fringe, and if you're in Sydney, please come and support me because my ticket sales are fucking awesome. So just squeeze you in there, danieldelby.com, and I'll give you the link.
Yeah, perfect. Nothing else from me except for use B32 Media for all of your video needs.
Cool.
That would be it.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's get hard.
Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host,
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Branch.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Mate, he's come in.
This could go for fucking 10 minutes.
He's come in where he's bearing the enemy's attire.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about this.
Hey, Claremont.
Yeah. And possibly could take West Perth's top spot this week if we don't do well.
Really?
wrong liquid in the...
Yeah. What have you got? I've got the Graham Fairweather 2017 Best Dressed Clubman.
What?
Boyd Trelaw.
Boyd Trelaw.
20 years, and then it's rubbed out. So
That's the Matthew Boyd being taken over by Trelaw for most possessions at the end of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But yours is that's clearly a guy that had a mental disability
Best
or just one leg. What club gives you best dressed clubman ever?
Yeah.
There's never been a best dressed clubman award.
Well, clearly Graham Fairweather. Perfect. So, Kep, before we get into a bit of backstory and stuff, I just want to quickly chat about Claremont and how that's going. How is Claremont going? Because they are in the running for the top spot this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a pretty good season. A bit of a hiccup last week against East Fremantle, who are going to be thereabouts come the end of the year. And, we've got a really young list and we've played some really good games. And then, it's how equal the comp is. It's sort of the top 5 and 6. If you're 10% off, anyone can win. So it's we were a fair way off last week losing East Fremantle, but you can just see by Swans beating West Perth, and there's been a few interesting results in the last 3 weeks. So
it sets up a great final round because West Perth have to win to finish on top. Claremont have to win to have a chance of finishing on top, and then whoever wins between Peel and Swans makes finals.
Yeah.
Right.
So the top 3 would be favourites to beat their opponents, but you still got to win, don't you?
So you said 100%. It's an
100%.
even comp. I haven't kept up with any waffle except for West Perth.
Yeah.
Are Perth still shit?
You've nailed it.
Really?
You've nailed it.
So it's not an even comp.
No.
Perth and West Coast are just...
Mate, Perth need to, in my opinion, align with West Coast. It just seems they train at the same ground.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No comment from Claremont?
No comment.
So your relationship goes back much further than just you getting on Claremont coach. You and Kep are good mates.
Yeah.
From back in the day.
Yeah.
And Kep, I played Kinger for Kingsley. So Kep, you were everyone looked up to you from when you were below. So Claremont's a little bit more affluent than Kingsley. Better resources, better club rooms. Different culture.
Yeah, very different culture. As you say, I played for Kingsley for a number of years, all my juniors, and I've still got some really great mates that I played with. But sensational footy club, and I actually went down there two weeks ago for my nephew's last game of footy, and had a walk through the memorabilia there, and
there you are.
It was, I featured quite heavily. So I don't know how it all went wrong from there.
Yeah, you, Josh Hill, and I don't know how many.
Josh Hill from Kingsley.
Well, I think he played his name's on the board. I think he played juniors.
Did you nearly go back there when Grover was? Was it?
You would have won a flag with my brother if you did.
Yeah, I did.
Because he's one of your best mates, eh?
Yeah. So I played a bit of country footy, and then I found out that he was coaching Kingsley, and I'm not too sure how that all panned out. But he nearly got me across the line, but my waffle commitments wouldn't allow me.
Yeah.
So we took him from CB to A.
Yeah.
And now they're back to C2.
Oh yeah. Basically, everyone's gone.
No Grover, no Kingsley.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So one story we'll get out of the way because I've told it to Delby on the pod before, but very loosely. So you rolling your ankle and getting told to train by yourself for a few months by Ross. What was Ross like as a coach, and how did that unfold?
Yeah, no, I really rated him. I was over at Essendon, got coached by Sheeds, and then came across to Freo, and Mark Harvey was at the helm, and then Ross took over, and Ross was really sort of structure. He's very structured with his training and the way the game's meant to be played, and everyone had a role, and it didn't matter if you were, Matthew Pavlich or myself. If you sort of stepped out of line or did the wrong thing, he'd whack you between the eyes. I've sort of seen in the past with some legends of the game that are playing, they might not do the right thing, and they might just skip across that bit of vision. But they'd always find that bit of vision of kept sort of turning the footy over or fucking slipping over. So but it was quite refreshing with Ross when it didn't matter who you were and how much you were being paid and how well you were liked. If you sort of went outside what he thought the game should be played, he'd whack you between the eyes in a meeting. So
I heard he loved Fife though.
Oh, he does like Fife, but he has challenged Fife before as well. I've seen it firsthand. But
I think that's what any good coach does. They challenge the leaders and the
But it's probably got to a point at Freo where it was such a young list, and some young guys probably don't cope with that. And, a lot of coaches these days are relationship based and sort of wrap their arms around. But Ross certainly, if you weren't doing the right thing and you cost the team or you deliberately went outside the structure, he'd whack you between the eyes.
So what structure did you go outside of?
Well, one of my very best mates, Jason Selisic, and I forget what year it was, but it would have been 10 plus years ago, but I think it was my second or third year at Freo, and I was sort of fighting for a contract, which I was every year. I signed nine years. Nine contracts in 11 years. So I still have one stat over Dustin Fletcher, who played for 1,000 years. He actually signed 8 contracts. I signed 9.
How good!
He was on the list for about 21 years, and I was 11. But anyway, it was a December, and we organised a cricket game, a Bucks Party cricket game for my good mate, and Branchy was involved, and. We had a function at Freo. It was a family Christmas day. It was on a Saturday, so I sort of put in a request to go to my mate's Bucks Party and sort of promised I wouldn't drink and I'd do the right thing. Anyway, they ticked it off, which I couldn't believe. And then we went out there and we were playing cricket, and I'd like to say I actually injured my ankle playing cricket. But I think someone got out, someone got bowled out. We all ran in the middle, and we'd have this song, and from memory I don't forget what the song is, but we were jumping up and down and carrying on, and I've jumped up and then landed on the fella next to me. He rolled the ankle on his foot pretty badly. I heard a couple of cracks, and anyway, I sort of sat there and was drinking for a bit more, and then I thought, gee, I better go and see a physio and sort this out because I've got to train on Monday. Anyway, so I went and saw the physio and got an ice machine and iced it for the next 2 days and rocked up at training, and anyway, got in trouble. wasn't ideal. And
what was it, ligaments or something? Or?
Yeah, ligaments. So I actually just strapped it up and sort of that sort of made me just continue running laps.
Yeah.
And then after that Monday morning session, I basically we were training out at McGilvray, and basically got told to train away from the footy club.
So how does he deliver that?
Oh, he just said you're not up to AFL standard. Your skin folds aren't quite there, and you got to train on another oval. So at McGilvray, we used to train down the bottom oval, and there was a top oval.
So he used skin folds as the excuse.
Not
drinking piss and rolling it.
Yeah, well, I think there was a fair bit in it, but skin folds were very high. Obviously, drinking beers, and I should have been at a family function. Wasn't ideal, and then I couldn't train.
Jason's like family.
Yeah.
And I've signed a contract, every year, and I'm probably pushing shit uphill to start round one. But I got put on the top oval. The thing that hit home when I knew I stuffed up massively was Jason Webber, who was our S&C, our strength and conditioning fella.
I had Webber at Subi when I was younger.
I sort of went to him, and when I got told I needed to train on a separate oval, and said, "Oh, can I grab my GPS and that, and what's on the cards for me today? What am I doing?" And he sort of chucked me the GPS vest and said, "You can sort yourself out. We're not going to waste our time with you."
What the fuck?
So I turned my back and walked up the hill by myself. Oh, and sorry, they actually said you can sit under a fucking tree if you like. I said, "All right." So I trained by myself for about a month, and over Christmas, we had a 2-week break over Christmas. So
you go to the club, then go up to the top oval.
Yeah,
on your own.
I'd grab my GPS, and then the boys would start their training. I'd go up to the top oval, so I'd still be involved, but
was there little tags that said Sonny Walters was here?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I reckon a year later it happened to Sonny.
You set the standard.
But I
He was
wasn't
a precedent.
I wasn't banished from the club. I was just put on a separate bit of the oval. But Sonny actually got banished.
So he was doing it, and it was Kep was here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I sort of just thought, shit, I better just start running. So I just used to run for 2 hours in the heat while they were sort of down there doing their skills. And it got to about February, and then they said, do you want to retest your 3K? And I said, yeah, that'd be good. I didn't know any GPS data, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know what I was running.
Did you try and enlist like a PT or a running coach or anything? Or you just like, I was running. Just Forrest Gumped it.
But I dropped. I used to have this thing where you couldn't get under 50 skin folds. I just couldn't. But I did skin fold testing in February. Got 35. Which
Holy shit!
It was bordering like I needed to eat some food.
Yeah, that's fucking a lot.
Wow. And then the
lean.
3K, I think I got about a 10:32, which was extremely fast for me.
That's great.
It's I sort of average about 11:20, but I sort of took almost a minute off.
Wow.
And from that point on,
And that's 330 Ks.
yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Were you sprinting the 2 hours, or were you changing it up, or you were just like running?
I'd run. I'd sort of change, like fartlek a little bit, but I just sort of, and I had my watch, so I sort of knew what I was doing, but I just try and run as much as I possibly could, and I knew the only way I was going to get out of the shit fight was be as fit as I can, and that's probably one of the best years I've had.
Because you just had that, like Corey would say, like you just built that base.
Yeah.
The baseline was there.
Yeah.
And then
He did a lot of
it's probably better you were running because no tackling, no contact.
Exactly right.
Like,
I was
no
fresh.
injuries.
I hadn't hit bodies for a month. But no, it was really good. And that's why I sort of, I'm still involved in footy, and a lot of players come up to me and say, I'm naturally fat and I can't lose skin folds.
Yeah.
Well, I used to think that too, but it's actually bullshit. If you want to work on your body and get it to a point where you can compete, and you can do it. It doesn't matter who you are. So.
Well, they probably built that resilience in you for that season, because I remember that season the lads in my workshop were calling you the difference. Yeah. Because we were putting the tips down, and I'd go, he's kept playing. Yeah, he's playing. I'd tip the Dockers. Yeah. It was always the difference. But yeah, I guess with those sorts of situations, going through those hard things, would you suggest that going through the hard times builds the resilience for you as an AFL player?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would put my hand up and say that, when I got drafted, and I had my head in the sand when I was young, but when I got drafted and it became a job, it it became not as enjoyable for me. But a lot of kids thrive under it, and they just love their footy. And I was a bloke who loved playing footy, but also loved playing with his mates and hanging out with his mates. So throughout my whole AFL career, I put my hand up and say, there's times when I went out for a beer with my mates, and I probably did the wrong thing here and there, but it was all pretty innocent. But there's a lot of structure around the way that footballers need to do things these days, and they don't really get out and about with their mates as much. And
I think that's setting them up for failure post career though, because how many guys do you see that have lived that structured lifetime, and then as soon as they're finished footy, it's gone, not like off the rails. Bomber Thompson was one, like as a coach, that someone leaves because you lose all that youth where you can drink with your mates, you can go party with your mates if you're not playing AFL, but then they start reliving their youth as 30+ year olds, and they just go crazy.
No, exactly right.
How old were you when you got drafted?
Just turned 18.
Right.
Yeah.
So you finished year 12?
I went to that's another story. Yeah, I got suspended from sport. So when I went to Woodvale Senior High School, and I did maths in practice and the lowest English, but I did woodwork, metalwork, and sport and stuff like that, and I wasn't over the moon with sitting in classes and sort of doing the literature side of stuff.
Yeah.
But Mum and Dad were always sort of at me to get a pre-apprenticeship, but this one day we were playing gridiron, and this little fella, and this is one thing I do regret, but this little fella was going back with the flight. He was sort of the receiver and running, and I've just come in, and it was meant to be non-contact, but I saw a great opportunity to iron this young kid out.
Bang!
And I've come through, and it's probably one of the biggest hits I've ever made. And he was sort of, concussed on the floor and rolling around, and then I ended up getting suspended from sport.
Fuck.
So I had to sit under a tree and write lines for the next month.
So when Freo said you can sit under a tree, you're like, I've already done that.
Yeah, I was quite used to that. But
was the kid the same age as you, or year 12 and
no,
year 7 or something?
He was same age. I was just a bit bigger and heavier than him, but my parents found out that I wouldn't get a mark in sport because I hadn't done enough. So then they ripped me out of school, and I did a pre-apprenticeship, and ended up getting drafted to Essendon. So
from West Perth.
Yeah.
Was that do you play in the 2003 grand final?
I did. Yeah, that was
you and Jace.
Yeah. It was all a bit of a whirlwind that year. You weren't allowed to play for the league team until after the State 18s Carnival.
Yeah.
So that happens later in the year back then, and it only went for a week. And then sort of I played 2 reserves games, and then ended up playing the 2 home and away games, and then we played Subi in the grand final, and then ended up winning it, which was pretty good. And then I had the national combine bloody 2 days later.
Oh my god!
Oh Jesus!
So I had a couple.
So you were carb loading.
I had a couple, but I was watching what I was doing because I knew I had it was a pretty important day, and but in saying that, I rocked up and we did a 20-metre sprint at the national combine, and I got a 3:33, which is really slow.
Yeah.
And then I got a 3:28 or something like that, which is really slow.
Yeah.
And I had a Geelong scout come up to me and go, "Are you okay? Are you injured?" I said, "No." And he's like, "Oh, right." So I thought, shit, I should have said I was injured. But that was sort of the first ever testing that I realised that I was I was a very slow player. And then as you reach those heights and you're trying to break away from a lead or whatever, or try and keep up with someone that you're spoiling, you sort of realise, gee whiz, I lack a bit of leg speed.
Yeah. Did you have any prior interests other than Geelong? Talk to you before the combine?
Yeah, I met with Essendon
because you need to have over 5 for the national.
4 or 5?
Yeah. I had quite a few. I had a pretty good year that year, and had quite a few clubs sort of saying that they'd take me. But
where were you playing at the State 18s and then West Perth? Back, forward, ruck, middle?
Everywhere. It was quite a mashed up experience, really. So I'd be sort of wing, ruck, rover for the Colts, and then I played State 18s. I was centre half back. Yep. Which was totally new to me. Yep. And then came back with West Perth, and I in the league side I sort of played on a half forward flank. Yeah. And a little bit wing. So
pretty tall for a wing.
Yeah. Well,
It's become the norm now.
The Richo model.
I sort of I probably came 10 years too early.
yeah.
But I could always sort of run at a reasonable speed for a long time. It was just, that breakaway speed I never really had. And the wing sort of suited me because I played that all my juniors really through Kingsley. And then with the Colts, I sort of played on the wing and half-forward flank. Didn't have a defensive bone in my body. I wouldn't even know who I was playing on, but I could sort of accumulate the footy. And that probably backfired on me when I ended up getting to Essendon and they put me on Barry Hall and Matthew Richardson and Jonathan Brown and Pavlich and all these guys that are in their prime. And I'm an 18-year-old trying to sag off and get my own footy, and they're just kicking goals for fun.
And what's the pressure like when you go to a big club like that? Which has got a lot of expectations on it. You're playing games like Anzac Day games and whatnot, and then you have to play on the best players in the league. Well, that pressure must be immense.
Yeah, it was, and it was a foreign position for me. So, and you had Dustin Fletcher playing on the second best forward. I couldn't work it out. And I got delisted 3 years later, so that's probably why I couldn't work it out. But no, it was a great opportunity. I mean, to play on some of the guys that I mentioned, and Mike Sheehan. Back in the day, he probably still does it, but he does his top 50 players in the AFL. And there was 1 year where there was 7 centre forwards in the top 10 at that time. And I sort of
playing
on those guys week in, week out.
Who would that have been? Revolt?
Revolt, Brown, Treadray, Pavlich.
Jesus.
Yeah.
just
to name a few.
Richardson.
Eddie Geelong. Not back then, Tom Hawkins.
I remember playing Melbourne, and Brad Miller was the centre-half forward, and I just, I played on Barry Hall and Treadray and Pavlich in the past sort of 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Brad Miller, I remember going to the game sort of thinking it's almost a week off this week. not that Brad couldn't play, but it was it was the calibre of centre-half forwards back then. It was unbelievable, but certainly learned a lot. And
what number did you get picked up in the draft?
6.
6.
Yeah.
So it went super high.
Yeah.
So extra expectations.
Yeah. But there's no expectations of where your position is up in Bidgidanga. Everyone knows where your position is in Bidgidanga.
In the pub?
No, because his name is his position from all the players. They're like, Ruckman. Just rock up. I guess I know where I'm playing.
It was that was an interesting experience. You played as well for Towns, Branchy, and
maybe about half until I cramped up and
it was in 40-degree heat, and I was sort of wearing size 11 boots, and I'm size 14, so cut the toes out.
We had just got out of a car from coming up from
Beagle Bay.
Beagle Bay, and it was like a 3.5 hour drive, like no
What
water.
was it for? Was it at West Perth or was it?
No, this is a Claremont Kimberley like a trip where they engaged in the community up there, and so it came down in the Bidgidanga where we'd stayed one of the nights. They said, you guys can play for us. We get a permit, and me and Kep and Brad Tripchev were the only 3 white blokes on the ground, I reckon, and it showed because they were fucking fast. But you would have kicked 5 or 6 or so.
From the ruck?
Yeah.
No,
I
I
actually played full forward.
5 or 6.
I don't think I left the goal square that day. So
actually, he was doing so well at the start. Darren Harris is now lead coach at West Perth, but was a coach of Claremont at the time. Came up to him and said, "Fucking, it's not about you. Fucking."
There was a little bit about me though. After quarter time, I pulled my head in and I tried to get the fellas involved. But
we talk about fucking Dane Swan a few weeks ago getting an unflattering photo put in the paper. Your photo on that one was
it's one of the all-time.
Is it?
Yeah. It's scarred me. I mean, when
what is it?
Oh, you have a look. It's quite confronting. And I like to think I don't look like that, but then I look in the mirror and go, yeah.
It's the worst timing. Yeah. I'll find it. It's not the greatest.
You'd think you'd get an old big boy like. If you're getting a shot of him, you'd just be having a kit, like having a set shot. But I think I'm actually trying to chase there, which amazes me.
Getting your 3.3 seconds.
Even I guess the picture that me, you, and Brad shared after you were over tense.
Could have just done. Yeah, could have used that one.
That's it.
But as you look for that,
that's
not the most flattering. It looks like a Wanneroo High School jersey.
How do we delete that?
Yeah.
Put that up to the camera so Jamal can switch to it.
I wonder
zoom in on it.
If we can zoom in on
just
that.
to make things worse for Kev.
I'll put it on there. I'll put it on the thing.
From my
in the
memories,
show.
you've got number 6, and there's a lot of expectations. Kevin Sheedy seemed to take you under his wing, and you're like a favourite of his, but then kind of would cop it from the fans. From my memories, when you're at Essendon and a little bit at Freo, was that how it felt, or was that different? Is that just my memories a bit wrong? But
No. That's
we're all rooting for you as West Australians and as a Kingsley bloke, and Branchy knows you, so we're trying to get behind you. And then, seeing you kind of copped it quite a bit. How do you deal with that? Did it feel like that, or did Sheedy just protect you from that, or was that all bullshit?
It was quite full on. And when you're sort of living in Melbourne too, and they take their footy really serious over there. And for me, it was sort of. I felt like I was playing out of position, trying my best, but just playing on some superstars, and they were just, tearing me apart, from memory. But she'd sort of kept playing me, and then the pressure kept building up to the point where I sort of played 2 years almost non-stop. And then in my 4th year at Essendon, I didn't play.
Yeah. Was that a bit injury or just...
just dropped off the face of the earth, and I was just playing at Bendigo Bombers. But there was a hell of a lot of pressure around, and especially during that season where I was just at VFL. Like I actually enjoyed playing the VFL. I enjoyed not getting much attention to me, just playing at a lower level. And I really missed home. So I during that period, all I wanted to do was come home. I didn't care if I got delisted and ended up playing just waffle, but I sort of had enough. And to Freo's credit, and Sheeds actually got moved on that year too, and the new coach Matthew Knights came in, and I sort of got moved on as well. So it was I trained at Freo for would have been 2 months, just trying to get on their list. And
with a team though, right?
Yeah. Before they knew the actual ins and outs. But eventually got picked up and started playing under Mark Harvey. And then even, the first year at Freo, I got knocked out a couple of times and started off playing for West Perth, but eventually got my chance and started to sort of get some confidence up again and that sort of thing. But I reckon the Freo fans were a bit weary of me. They sort of weren't too sure. But I think, after 2 or 3 years, they sort of jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I remember it all changed for you.
They sort of had, I finished off the last sort of 3 or 4 years, the fans sort of done a total backflip and started backing me in and that sort of thing, which was a really nice thing. And
it must feel good because copping it, especially from such a young age, copping it hard. And we've spoken about this a few times, like Ginnivan at the moment, and they're young players and they cop it fucking hard from the public. They don't hold back.
And I think once one person jumps on, then the rest jump on. That's the way it sort of happens. But for whatever reason, and I still think it, Jared Healy, who was a commentator, I still remember coming to Freo and then sort of, trying to make my way in the Freo lineup. And he sort of started the positive, I reckon, of me. He sort of started to go like, Kep's got something to offer and rah, and a little bit of ruck.
The Kep factor.
And then it started into all that sort of bullshit. And I
Kep.
couldn't keep up with it at one point. It was the difference, the Kep factor and all that sort of stuff.
I loved it.
I sort of look back and go, well, at least I try to contribute as much as I can to repay Freo back. And the night I did my knee, I was actually quite shattered because I thought I was going okay at that time as well. But once that sort of happened, I knew I'd be pushing shit uphill because I knew I wasn't super talented and I always tried pretty hard and I always, I could sort of play through some injuries and that sort of thing and contribute a little bit. But I knew as soon as I wasn't 100% and the knee happened, I knew I'd be pushing shit uphill.
How old were you when that happened?
It would have been 28.
Yeah.
So it was funny. The week before, we played against Hawthorn down at Launceston and got beaten by 100 points, and Buddy Franklin put on a fucking absolute. Thank fuck I was in the I was in the forward line, so it had nothing to do with me. But I kicked 3 that day and sort of had positive chats with the manager about potentially getting a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then the following game, you think, how good am I going, and then the following game you go and have a kick and do your knee, and that's the insane. End. It sort of finishes pretty quick. But,
so that was the end of career.
I mean, to Ross's credit, it was against Richmond, and I did it in the second quarter. And Dylan Grimes, who's a superstar, he was hard to play on. He still is, but he sort of did a 1%er and dived over my foot.
That's right. Yeah.
But, silly Kep was trying to go from goal for fucking 70 yards, just to try and hold my spot for next week.
But it must be hard going through that delisting twice.
Oh yeah,
in a career like. Cause
and prior to the pod, you said you were the only bloke to get picked up off an AFL draft twice.
No, I just said it's very hard to be national drafted twice. So I've ticked that box, but no, it's just the uncertainty of it, and signing so many 1-year contracts, and I was living life on the edge. That's why I've got no fucking hair, but I was living life on the edge for a number of years, and I do think it's built up my resilience now. Like, if something happens now to me, and I'd sort of go, I've just about dealt with everything. I've wrecked a fucking Anzac Day game with 110,000 people watching.
That's my one memory. I feel bad, but that's my one memory of you kicking across the face and intercepted. Bang. Was it, Lockyer?
Lockyer, yeah.
Was that when they won by a point in the rain?
No. They ended up winning by, it was 20 points or something. But we were sort of coming back. And
you're thinking Zaharakis.
That's
game.
the one.
Were you in that game? Were you gone by then?
No, I was at Freo, yeah. But, I decided to switch the play. But know your limitations, Kev. Just kick it down the line, for fuck's sake.
I'll take a risk. Risk reward.
Yeah, that must feel like 100,000 people, like Anzac Day, the pressure.
Yeah. And I've never played in the grand final, but Anzac Day, it just seemed that every time the ball was kicked in the air and the roar of the crowd, it almost, for me, it felt like the ball was wobbling. That's how insane the
Can you hear your teammates calling you in or fuck?
Not for the first 5 minutes. Yeah. It's really full on. But and I can only imagine that grand finals would be even more intense. But
were you listed 2014, but knee? With the Dockers?
I had a year where it might have been 2014. I had a knee but didn't play.
Because that was the year they played in the grand final, is that right?
No, that's the year I did my knee.
Yeah.
And then I had another year on top.
Even more fucking distressful.
Yeah.
Do the knee the year that they play in the flag.
Yeah. Well, again, the difference. They didn't have him. They didn't have him. They didn't have the Kep factor. Yeah. That's why.
Was Harvey instrumental in getting you over to Freo from seeing you at Essendon, or had nothing to do with it?
No, I reckon he would have had something. Yeah. I mean, there was Dean Wallace was the line coach. Robert Shaw was I don't think he was footy manager, but he had something to do with the footy club, and I sort of met them when I was at Essendon, so I do believe that they had some sort of pull to get me across. And sort of eventually got on their list, which was good.
So I was going to say when you went to Freo, did you ever get played forward at Essendon, or you're always back? Hey.
Yeah. Well, I played the state 18. Like I played state 18s, played centre half back, and again I didn't defend, so I don't know how the fuck. But I just sort of ran off and had a pretty good carnival, and it was my sort of wing instincts that I grew up with. I just played like that, and then obviously Essendon saw me play at centre half back for those 3 games, and then thought I was a centre half back.
Well, I know when you went forward, the Kingsley boys would always get on you for first goal. they're in the King of Tavern, just going mental if you kicked it.
100%.
It's good time.
It was always paying a reasonable amount. It was like about $14.
Well, when you start on the bench, it's always going to pay a reasonable.
Yeah.
Scotty Gumbleton reminds me similar of hearing your story. He was a Jet.
Same club.
Essendon, then to Freo, and just couldn't get on the puck. Well, you got on the puck much more than him, but he was, hearing your story reminded me of his. Did you play with him at any of the clubs?
We're actually really good mates.
Yeah. He was a gun.
He was one of the best sort of underage players you'll ever see. Daniel Wells is probably the best I've seen, but Scott was the way he took marks and the way he moved around the ground, and his goal kicking was unbelievable. He got to Essendon, had back stress fractures or whatever, but had significant issues with his back, and then they went down to his hammies. And the funny thing is that I sort of played with him for a year or two at Essendon, and then I went over to Freo. He was still playing at Essendon. I think he was there for sort of 6 or 7 years. Yeah. I remember one off season I heard that he was linked to Freo, and I sort of thought, well, he's in the same position as I am. So I was actually over, and we're great mates, and we're over there, and we sort of had a day on the beers and with Courtney Johns, and anyway, his missus came and picked us up, and sitting in the car, and I saw the protein powder in the back seat.
Oh yeah.
And I said, oh, Scott, you coming to Freo, are you? And he's like, oh, there's talks about it. So I grabbed his protein, wound the window down and threw it out the window. I said, you're not taking my spot, mate. But he eventually came to Freo, but same issues with him, the poor bastard. He had hamstrings and
He was one of him and Leroy Jetta was incredible underage. He was a year below me, but Scotty Gumbleton, I remember I was playing Colts at Subi. Greggy Broughton played on him. Gumbleton kicked 9, and Broader got best on for us.
Fucking jeez.
Yeah.
Gumbleton's got one of the best burns I've ever heard on a football field. It was he was young just before he got drafted. He was the prospect, number 1 draft pick. West Perth versus Peel. All the backmen are just into him like, fucking, you're a fucking dickhead. You're a young fucking cunt. Whatever, like going off at him. And he's just turned around to them all and said, you fucking cunts. All you guys know my name. I don't know one fucking cunt on this field.
That's amazing.
And they've all gone, fair point. Fucking. He's probably kicked 4 or 5 as well.
That's brilliant.
That's a good way of turning it around.
Yeah. Did you play with Broado at Freo?
I did. Yeah, he was ultra.
He's pretty good off ground as well.
Yeah. No, he's fucking. He would have been the leadership group off if we had one.
Yeah, the one-man Rat Pack.
Yeah, but he had a few good years at Freo. He was ultra consistent. And sort of a bit of a ball magnet. Yeah,
getting 30 from the back pocket. He was running off guys playing your style.
Exactly. But he was still playing on Steve Johnson and blokes like that and doing a really good job. So I don't know what he's doing right now. I think his back's probably seized all together and he can't move. But he had back issues as well.
Yeah. You mentioned just before Courtney Johns. One of our questions is about him.
Go on.
Are the rumours true?
What is I don't know. It was Courtney Johns at Essendon guy that had the dreads, blonde dreads.
Yeah.
All the rumours. Courtney Long Johns they call him.
Big old dick. I heard it's the size of an arm.
Yeah.
I never used to share with him, so I never
just to preserve your own self-esteem.
Yeah, no, he's well built in that area. but he's a massive man too, so it's probably in proportion. But it's
you've actually got to play with some sensational. But do you play alongside James Hird?
Yeah, Hird and Lloyd were probably the two.
That's incredible.
Superstars back then. I heard he was coming towards the end, but they were unbelievable.
He's still to this day my favourite player, I think. I don't know if you can say it. I can't remember. I vaguely remember a story about Hirdy on Mad Monday being spending erratically.
Spending erratically?
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment.
I can't remember there was a story, but playing alongside guys like that, obviously that probably develops you as a younger player as well.
Yeah. And you grow up and you watch all of their sort of footy growing up, and then you eventually play with them. It's unbelievable. And the crowds that used to come and watch him train, I've never seen anything like it. It's sort of, I know Melbourne love their footy, but we used to get 1,500 people just to come and watch James Hird.
That's pretty cool to have. I reckon that would be better mentally if 1,500 are watching you train. It would be better because you push through and you don't want to make mistakes. So you're training the way you play.
That'd be
awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess with so him and Ross Lyon are in the running for Essendon coach now. Again, so James to come back.
Essendon are fucking shambles at the moment, man.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Essendon at the moment?
Are you going to put your hat in the ring or what?
Yeah.
They need a lot more than me. And off face value, Ross would be an ideal fit, I would think. He
seems
no nonsense.
Yeah, I think he'd get them sort of playing some reasonable footy. It'd be pretty structured, but they'd know where they stand. So a few of the young boys might not like it and ask for a trade, but I reckon all in all, he's sort of proven that he can get teams up and running.
I reckon I would hate personally to play with Ross because I don't think he would talk to you unless he was mad at you. Did he talk to you?
Well,
if you're doing the good things?
No, he does. He absolutely he appreciates effort. It's if you go out there and you physically and you can see that you're actually trying to do the right thing, and he's you're trying to cover for your mate and all that sort of thing. You get pats on the back.
Yeah.
It's the duck in the head and the jumping out the way. It sort of doesn't fly with him.
Yeah,
so as soon as that happens, and they show a bit of vision about you. You're sort of jumping out the way. You just got to go, I did that, and move on.
Won't happen again.
Young kids that go, the sun was in my eyes, and the ground was dewy. Well, you're done with him. So as long as you're honest, you.
Have you taken that on in your role at Claremont?
Yeah. I mean, I think the boys, if you asked them and sort of said, "What do you reckon about Kep?" It's sort of like a no bullshit policy, I suppose. It's you know, I encourage the boys to, while they're training, to try as hard as they can during games, try as hard as they can, but then off the field, go for your life and have a beer with your mates. Yeah. It's what it's all about, and especially at that level, you got to have a good balance of that sort of stuff. So you know, I try and steer away from making it super high performance. Yeah, they put in a hell of a lot of time, and they do need to, you know, the time to unwind. So
that's awesome to hear.
Time to unwind and the holidays are the best. That's the first time we met. I don't know if you remember. I do. Actually,
why? Because of
we met for the first time in Fiji for Troy Arnold's wedding.
Yep.
And I remember falling asleep in your bed one night. And
hello.
He was not happy I was in his bed. So
was it falling asleep or passing out in his bed?
Maybe passing out. Maybe with a lady as well. But
he was a nice local flavour or someone from the wedding? A little bit of Fiji.
He doesn't know.
Okay. I just remember.
All I know is that they were in my bed, and I was like,
he was like, I'm fucking going to bed. He picked me up on my jocks. They ripped, and he said, "Get the fuck out." We walked to the front door. He said, "Go touch that wall over there, on the other side. I've got no clothes on," and go oogada boogada, and then come back and you can come in the room. The girl's piss bolted, run off, go, and then I was like,
good wingman on the field.
We've been friends ever since.
Good wingman on the field, not so much a good wingman off the field.
I do remember us nearly missing the wedding, drinking too many cocktails by the pool. That one, but
who's? Was it a footy wedding or was it like a mate's wedding?
He's actually involved in footy. But yeah, he's just one of the lads.
Yeah. What's your best off-field memories from footy? Could be waffle or AFL.
Yeah, some of the footy trips must have been.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Vegas a couple of times. That was
with Swanee. He's a tour guide.
Not with Swanee, but I was actually underage and had to use Mark Bolton's ID, which it was.
How did that work? You guys look similar back then?
Not really. No. But I had his passport, so it was almost like as soon as I brought the passport out, they wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah, right.
Because it was an Australian passport. But, and I don't know how he trusted me with his passport anyway. But I never lost it.
Because that's 21, hey, for Vegas, yeah.
So I think I was sort of 19, 20 when I went over there both times. And, I sort of backed myself in that I'd get in, and I got into majority of the joints. So it was, that was an eye-opener. I wouldn't mind going over there being legitimate age and sort of just not stressing out in the massive lines about having to lie about your date of birth and remember that my name's Mark Bolton. But, no, they were a really good trip. Queenstown we went to, that's an outstanding.
I'm off there next week.
Venue, mate. It's I think they got the most pubs per capita, I believe, but it sort of goes deli, burger joint pub, bloody fitness joint pub, like it's just pubs galore.
Did you have a fur burger there?
I did, mate.
Fuck, good, eh?
I didn't just have one. I nearly had to train by myself after that for 3 years.
Yeah, the skin folds. I don't know why I'm having 5 fur burgers.
Yeah, that photo wasn't from Bidgidanga. That was the week after.
Well, the thing is that I don't think that place actually closes. So you go out all night and then you're walking home at 3 a.m. and they're just open.
Yeah,
and they're some of the best burgers you'll ever ever have. You'll end up having it for dinner, lunch, and breakfast. But it's that's an outstanding joint. I mean, on footy trip, we didn't do all the
dangerous stuff,
the rafting and the bungee jumping and stuff like that. But we were strictly just staying in pubs. But I went over with my missus 3 years later and sort of did all that stuff. And I thought, shit, it's actually
pretty cool.
It's a pretty good place to take your missus or to have a massive piss up with your mates. So I'm sure you'll have a ball.
Yeah, well, I'm going for Snow Machine next week, and I'm potentially freestyling on one of the stages, so I can claim it on tax.
Oh, that's good.
Because my friend's organising the festival, and she's like, "No, Jay Lee."
Okay.
She did sets on the beach and stuff here. So
cool.
She's like, I'm going to see if I can get you to freestyle on one of the side stages. But it's going to be fucking snowing and shit. So be going snowboarding and then festival.
Fucking hell. International. He's just got back from Edinburgh. He's off to Sydney this weekend, and then you're going from Sydney to New Zealand?
Yeah.
So the borders are open.
Yeah. I just booked my first trip to Thailand as well. It felt so foreign doing it. Just pressing book. I'll press book, and I went, fuck! Oh, shit, have I done it all right? I haven't done it for fucking 3 years.
I fucking guarantee your plane won't leave on time.
Yeah.
It's been hectic.
Yeah.
Bali was fucked. But
yeah. And Barley as well. Fuck, he's been everywhere the last month or so.
Yeah.
Tax deductions.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, because all for comedy.
Yeah.
But the 17-hour flight to Heathrow non-stop is that's pretty intense. Pretty intense. Pretty trash for the body.
Yeah. Well, last flights I booked, you booked for me to Kimberley. So,
Oh yeah.
But that's actually we could chat about that because the Claremont zone, they've got the Kimberley zone, and going up there and seeing some of that area, the not just Broome, getting out to the some of the communities that you're not allowed to go to sometimes, and they're pretty restricted.
Is that because you're on that list?
You just there's just some that you have to get permission to go in. You can't film some people. Like I'd go up there to film, and I couldn't. They'd have to put tags on some of the kids' backs, and
because of cultural reasons,
or protection stuff like that.
Couple
of different reasons, but the whole place up there, it's such a good draft zone, and how ideal it is to just chill back in Broome while you're doing your Auskick clinics. But
pretty sick.
What's it like being able to go up there for your draft zone? Because I reckon it's such a rich area to draft from.
Oh, it's a phenomenal talent. I mean, it's some of the kids up there are just unbelievable. Yeah. And we played in that game, and you just. They don't have a defensive bone in their body, but it's sort of continual. Like it's sort of speed and agility and the way they can jump, and it's just a different footy up there. And there's just a challenge of bringing the kids down and sort of settling them in Perth life.
Yeah.
So that's always been the challenge, and it's going to be ongoing. But as you say, it's so rich up there. It does need a fair bit of funding to get the most out of the kids up there. But the amount of talent is just through the roof. And
what sort of supports does Claremont have for the boys coming down? Who have they got to stay with? Is there like Aboriginal liaison officers or more community based? Or?
Yeah, I mean we've got a house that we rent off Indigenous organisations, so that sort of houses 3 or 4 kids, and then
it's only around the corner from the club, hey?
Yeah. So we sort of try and look after them as much as we can there, and then there's other companies that have sort of the same sort of boarding sort of process, I suppose, but there's a few bits to it. The kid's got to be studying or working or stuff like that. So finding that on top of some accommodation has its challenges at times, but kids that sort of want to come down and play footy, it generally works out pretty well. So
I think who was back in I think Lewis Broome.
Broome.
Lewis Broome.
Yeah, he was pretty gun junior.
Yep.
He's tiny.
Yeah, I remember he's tiny, but he made like state team of the year and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Subi have lucked out. They've got Kalgoorlie as their area. No wonder they've been so successful.
Well, East Freo's got probably the greatest one.
What's theirs?
Geraldton.
Yeah, right.
Northampton is just
a few good players come out of that.
Fucking just a couple, mate. That's ridiculous.
How do they decide? Where do West Perth have? You guys have got like Lansdale and Nangara.
No, we don't even have that. That's Subi now. Subi's just taken all that area.
Well, they rezoned us, and we just lost the Herdsman pub, which I'm spewing about.
You guys have got the Golden Triangle. You guys got a good draft zone, actually. But one thing I noticed I wanted to bring up, and this is interesting.
Is this going to be a no comment question?
No.
Okay.
So the front bar.
Nice.
The front bar put up a post last night, I think it was.
Okay, I'll let you finish your question. Sorry.
They put up a post last night. AFL cult heroes, team of the century.
All right.
And there's a glaring omission. No Kepler Bradley.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Clive Waterhouse made the team.
Yeah, he was a cult. What about Shawnee McManus? Would he be considered?
No. So I'll go through this team, and I think there's plenty that you could go in ahead of. Yeah. So we'll start as the followers. We'll go Max Rook. Okay, I'll cop.
Yeah.
Yep, Max
Formerly
Rook.
known as Max. He had a different last name.
Did he?
Yeah.
He just looked scary though, like the beard and the shaggy hair. So I get that.
I got him for first goal in that grand final.
Renee Kink.
Who?
Exactly. Who the fuck?
Renee Kink?
Who the fuck
Maybe
is that?
60s or 70s or 80s?
I don't know, but Peter Everett.
Yeah, he was definitely cult. Spider Everett.
Tony Modra.
Definitely.
Fraser Garrick.
Definitely. G-Train.
Rupert Betheris.
He was St Kilda, I think.
Rupert Betheris.
He was St Kilda player?
Come on.
I think it was just because his name was Rupert, maybe.
Yeah, I don't mind his name. It's great.
Half forward, Warwick Kappa.
Oh, 100%.
That's
got that one. Matthew Richardson.
Yeah, he was definitely a
Oh, you
Colt.
keep kicking on me. I should be.
And Clive Waterhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Colt.
Mill Hanna.
Yeah, the bold guy from Carlton.
Yeah. Wayne
Wiedemann.
Yeah.
Adelaide.
Oh,
Adelaide?
yeah.
He was my brother's favourite player.
Okay, so this guy, I reckon I got this guy drafted. Dennis Armfield.
Yeah, he was
Carlton.
super quick.
Yeah, he played. He got best on the
Swan-
ground in a
Swan
reserves grand
Districts?
final. Yeah, Swan Districts. Yeah,
You got him drafted because he towered you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't say he was a cult figure, though. He was fast and would kick a couple of goals. I wouldn't say he was a cult figure.
A mutual friend of ours knows him very well as well.
Oh, hello.
Bruce Dool.
Yeah.
Headband?
Door flying door.
Yeah. Matt Spanger. Yep.
Yeah.
He
was
He
great.
played for 1,000 teams.
Yeah.
Hawks flag as well, eh?
Yeah. Jake.
And then, did he get traded to Sydney after Hawks as well? I feel like he went to one more team and he was like, every team he was in made the grand final, but he never got into it.
Yeah.
So we'll have to fact check
Yeah,
that.
we'll have a look at that one.
Yeah.
Jake King.
Yeah, push up king.
I think.
Did you play on him?
No, I played on the same field, but yeah.
I remember Jake King rode past. We were in Thailand on a footy trip. Me and Braden Duckworth was on the the scooter in front of me. He's running up this hill, Jake King, like doing some work, I guess, before he goes and hits the beers. And Braden just turns around and goes, "Whoo!" The push-ups, just doing the push-ups. Fucking, he
would cop that everywhere.
Yeah. Danny Southern.
Yeah. Bulldogs. Is he gone all spiritual now, I think, or something? He became like Buddhist.
Yeah, okay.
He works at the AFLPA. I'm actually meeting up with him tomorrow. So.
Okay, well, he's made it.
Yeah.
Lewis Roberts Thompson.
Yeah, from Sydney.
LRT.
It was great.
And-
He should have got the Norm Smith, I reckon, that
Yeah,
year.
it was incredible.
And
Yeah.
Mark Zanotti.
Yeah.
Who does
Who's
Zanotti play
Zanotti?
for?
Fitzroy.
Fitzroy. back
See,
in the
that's
day.
a bit
Before
too
your
old.
time, Brent.
Yeah.
That's a bit too old. But I was not happy with that one.
Nick Natanui has to be on there as a cult figure, or is it retired cult?
Well,
figures?
a cult figure is I don't know, like Clive Waterhouse, I accept is a cult figure. I think Kep's.
Yeah.
So front bar, we'll tag you in that. Fuck you.
yeah, front bar.
Yeah, fucking Kep.
We'll have to have a revised cult figure.
A revised cult figure.
Yeah, right. Is there a bench?
There was no bench.
No bench. Well, maybe they'd
can
let
be
the
the whole
bench out.
Made the
We'll do a petition for Kep on the bench, and we'll back him with the first goal.
I'll just lay across 4 seats. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, a couple of questions from some viewers as well.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. How do you stay afloat drowning in so much puss?
Who's that?
That's someone clearly taking the piss.
Perth dude. I don't know. Well done, Perth dude.
No comment on that
Well-
one. He's happily married with a wife and kids for the past. How long have you been married?
I 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That fella obviously doesn't know me because he knows that's totally untrue. I was the fella at, holding the bar up. The other boys were doing the damage.
You do hold the bar up. You do very well. Do you think Freo can make it happen, flag mantle, this year?
They've made it tough for themselves, been outside the top 4, but sort of inconsistent. I don't know where they're going to kick their goals. It's probably been an issue since I've been there.
We should do that before we finish as well.
Are you putting your hand up for a late recall?
No, yeah, I've counted with the way I look in Bidgie Dango. Only the worst now. But no, I just think they got such a good midfield and their back line's real young and holding up well. But I just don't know how they're going to kick their goals. I think they'll win on the weekend. I think they'll cover Bulldogs. But
Fife's out. Libba's out today.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's a huge out.
Yeah,
If Aish tags Bont, keeps him quiet, then I think they're in with a sniff. But it's going to rain, and the Bulldogs are pretty good in the rain. If it rains, I think.
I tried to omit myself once.
What do you mean? In a final?
No. We had our last pre-season game was against the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And we went out there, and that was back in the day where you played your last pre-season. You had a bye, and that was Waffle round 1, and then the AFL round 1 was the Waffle round 2. So we went out there, final preparations to get the season underway. Anyway, we're playing Bulldogs, and I've ran out there, and I'm playing in the forward line, and I've walked off the ground with 4 handballs as a key forward.
Yep.
So that was down at
4 handballs.
4 handballs.
Oh no.
So I've sat in the car and I'm driving home, going, "Oh, fucked for round 1."
Yeah.
And I probably should play during our bye next week and play for West Perth just to get some touch. Anyway, I thought I'd ring Peter Sumich, who was the forwards coach, and go, look, mate, do you want to float with Ross if I can play some waffle next week?
Yeah.
The other boys, we got a week off, but I wouldn't mind getting some touch. Anyway, someone was like, leave it with me, and on Monday we'll have a chat about it. So Monday comes around, and I've rolled out onto the training track, and Ross goes, Kep, over here. And I'm going, oh, fuck. I said, yes, mate. And he goes, so, are you a AFL player or a waffle player? I said, I like to think of myself as an AFL player. I'm thinking, fuck, is this a trick question? He said, well, why the hell are you asking to play waffle on the weekend? I said, oh, mate, I had 4 handballs on the weekend. He said, bullshit. I said, yeah, mate, like the ball didn't actually touch leather. And I thought it'd be a good idea to get some touch. He's like, really? I thought you were actually okay. I said, no, I had 4 handballs. He goes, mate, don't worry about it. And he held his hand up to me and he goes, we know what you give us. You give us effort. And he's staring at the other 4 fingers. And at that point I thought, fucking hell, I've only got effort. I've got no other attributes.
And 4 handballs.
And then he said, don't worry about it. You give us effort, go out there and train. And we both had a laugh. But anyway, I
That's amazing.
I ended up not playing that week for West Perth, and I actually played round 1, which was quite
so
amazing.
good.
But I think he actually liked the fact that you could be pretty honest with him and he'd back you in. But not a lot of players would have said, fucking play me in the waffle because I haven't had a kick.
Yeah.
He reminds me very much of Bill Monahan, the way that they deliver messaging. Very raw, pretty abrupt.
It is raw,
but you respect him for it because you know where you're at.
Absolutely.
Probably said you're a team man.
Yeah. Or anything.
You've given it off.
You're tall.
In front of goal.
Like
4 times
you're
you're
tall. That's an attribute.
Your skin folds it down.
You've got both your
You try
arms.
really hard.
Fucking hell. Well, you just give it off to someone that was in a better position 4 times. 4
That's
goal
it.
assists it could have been.
No, exactly right. But
That's amazing.
Anyway,
So you're tipping Freo to beat the Dogs
yes,
this week?
yeah, no, I think it'll be close, but I think they've done too much right this year to just bomb out for the first week, so I reckon they'll be fine.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we might keep going with that, actually. So the Dockers, obviously, you think you'll get through. Hey, this is a big one. Geelong and Collingwood at the G.
I think Collingwood are going to do them.
Can we just talk about as well the timing of these games?
Saturday?
I think they've really missed an opportunity with some of these. I reckon that game could have been the twilight game at the G through into the night, and then the Dockers and Freo and Bulldogs during the day.
Yeah.
Is Thursday night weird or not?
Yeah, I find it.
I don't know why they're doing that, but I think it's to give everyone that extra day for Sunday.
Maybe.
So it's not like a short break for anyone else.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So it is a bit weird because Richmond at Brisbane, I think Richmond are going to do them, eh?
Richmond,
what do you think?
Yeah.
I reckon Brisbane are going to do them just for the fact that they haven't won enough finals over the past. I think they're due. Like I know
That's what I thought last
they
year.
haven't been great. Yeah, I know. Well, they haven't been great, and I know Richmond are hitting their straps, but the Gabba, Pack Gabba, and Zorko abusing everyone.
What do you think on that? Let's touch on that. We haven't spoke about. I put a post up. If it's only about his mum, I reckon fucking grow a pair, man.
If that's what it is, yeah.
From all reports, it was just about his mum. And Petty apparently said way worse shit to Zorko first.
I've heard differing, but I don't think I want to voice what I've heard just in case
unless
it's
it's
true.
fact. But I'm saying if it's just about your mum, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking, I think if he hadn't have cried, no one would give a fuck.
Yeah. But I don't know what he said. And then also I've heard that the Melbourne boys were giving it to him pretty
badly.
Pretty badly.
About his missus and his ex-wife because of the stuff that I even forgot about that, what would happen with Zorks.
Yeah.
How his missus posted him naked and called him a cheater and put it up on socials, took it down. People that put it up and then take it down.
It was
once
never,
it's up, it's up.
Never screenshotted.
Yeah. What's your opinion as a coach on the sledging and resilience there?
Well, you don't see too many blokes cry on the footy field. So I don't
apart
know.
from Nick Revolt, I guess.
That was physical, though.
Yeah.
He got punched a couple of times then, didn't he? But how times have changed, that would never be allowed to happen these days. But No, I mean, even when I was playing, you cop it from over the fence and certainly by opposition players. But it's one of those things where you sort of think if they're giving it to you, you must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Because if you're no good as a player, you wouldn't even waste your breath. It's one of those ones where you're just trying to put someone off. So it's almost a feather in the cap. That's the way I used to sort of run around when anyone sort of gave me a bit of shit. But it obviously depends on what's happening in your private life, and then if it triggers something. You know, if you got a member going through a sickness and and it's just a coincidence that someone had a go about that, and you sort of that's not ideal. But if you're just telling someone that they're a fucking idiot and they're no good at footy, well, it's sort of move on.
Yeah. It's usually the coaches telling you that. Pretty petty, Buzz. Okay.
Yeah, but I think also sometimes things can get, because there's cameras everywhere. Look, like, you might not have noticed that, might not have seen it, but even cameras are in fucking local pubs now. Can't even go to a Mad Monday and suck at a bloke's dick.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. That is fucking insane, man.
I have been. And I prided myself on Mad Mondays and end of season.
You pride yourself?
Yeah.
Not the same pride they have.
Like I'd like to think I will the team over the line. Like I'm that sort of, like I would have been a Brownlow medalist off the field, but that's something I've looked at. And I've told a few of my ex-teammates that I was like, you know how I get Mad Monday and you know how boozy we get? Yeah. I can't believe what I'm witnessing here. That's just something that's unbelievable.
It's progressive.
We had a Mad Monday for West Perth. I reckon you would have been there, Branchy. We got knocked out by Swan Districts in a prelim final. And we went out that night and we had to be at the St. George, I think it's called. Down
you've heard of that place, have you?
Well, I lived. The only reason why I bought my apartment there was I lived 50 metres from it, so it was.
In Carron Up,
it was on Barnes Street, and I no longer live there. I'm not allowed to. I had shares in the joint. But
I was going to say, if you ever wanted to find I'll just head down the Saint. I'm sure you'll find.
Well, people check the Saint first and then come and knock on the door. But we had our sort of silly Sunday catch up there, and I think the doors open at 9 o'clock or whatever, and we all had to be there, and we were drinking beers and that sort of thing, and at about 3 o'clock on the arvo, I get a tap on the shoulder from a bouncer and say, and I was heavily intoxicated, and he sort of tapped me on the shoulder, go, look mate, you've had enough, and I'm like, really? Like it was just the West Perth guys in here, and I'm having a ball. And he's like, "No, mate, you can't string two words together. You got to go." So I said, "Right, no dramas." So I've walked home, and I sat down, and I thought, "How can I get back in?" So anyway, I had
use Mark Bolton's ID.
I vaguely remember this.
I had sort of like 3 centimetre long sort of hair just swapped over, covering the bald spots. So I thought, stuff it. I'm gonna shave me head. So I've got home and I've put it down to the razor, and I've shaved my head, and then I've gone in for a shower and sort of changed my clothes. And
you're 6'6".
Yeah. No, and then,
you put shoes on your knees.
I drank some water, and I literally walked back up. The same guy that kicked me out 45 minutes before, I've walked in and said, "G'day mate, how you going?" Sort of head down, glasses on. He said, "No dramas." I said, "West Perth boys up there." He's like, "Yep." And so I've walked up there, and anyway, I've stayed there for another hour and had 2 pints, and then got wonky again. And the bloke comes up to me and he's like, "Did I just kick you out?" I said, "Yeah, you did." He goes, "Fuck, it's a pretty good effort." I said, "Oh, no worries, mate. I've had enough too anyway. I'm leaving." So the dedication.
That's amazing.
Get back in,
you did very well.
That's great.
I reckon it's probably because the Cindy was going well. He needed to get back in with the syndicate. But,
that's great. I did a similar thing in Edinburgh, actually. There was 2 girls that came over to see me, 2 Irish lasses, and one of them, I had no shirt on, and I had my mangina. And I don't have one now because she said if you shave that, we'll both jump in.
Jesus!
So
not bad.
I'll save it when we don't have a Claremont
for the
representative
Patreon.
on, but I'll tell that story.
Good fun
with a comic
on the Patreon.
Yeah. So, but that's fucking awesome. Have you got any other good off-season stories?
Well, the Mad Mondays thing, like that is going a bit far. It's not going to playing stick. But
I just can't believe it. And I think from all reports,
progressive.
I could be wrong, but I think that fella's wife actually left him.
he
mate.
did, yeah.
wow.
So she left him. Now, I think that's a bit much. I think, like, hey,
The sucker or the suckee?
No, the sucker.
sucker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a circumstance ever where I would put your knob in my mouth.
No.
Like,
no.
Can't have.
if for some reason you were dying and the only way oxygen...
The snake venom is on my dick now, but you need
or
to suck
if you had a defect where your lungs actually
You blew me up.
were blowing, that's probably the only way I can see ever.
Like a blow up doll. Like,
Yeah, like...
I'm not sure it'd be too pleasurable. The guy, mate,
There's
the
no
guy,
way.
But insanely, the guy chucked it in his mouth for 2 seconds and got out.
Yeah, but...
She shouldn't leave him for that.
No, I don't think. I mean, whatever. Who knows what their relationship was like?
Maybe it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. I've seen some pretty fucked up shit on Mad Mondays, and I've
Straw
done
that
some,
broke the
done
camel's
some
sack.
pretty
Straw that broke the camel's sack in this case.
Yeah, well, sack. That's certainly something people have seen with mine on
Yeah.
Man
Well,
Mondays.
it's quite progressive. I mean, lots of nudity on a Mad Monday, but not to that point.
No.
But
yeah.
I wasn't really very good at Mad Mondays or Sad Sundays because
Well, by that time as well that you're talking about, like you've had the game will be on the Sunday. You've had the whole Sunday night, and you're on the Monday, and you're towards the end of the day on the Monday. If you get to 9 o'clock, that's a good spell.
Yeah.
Because you've gone out all night the night before.
I don't think I've ever made 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Sort of business hours. If you're going by 5 p.m, you've done well.
yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask who's the best sledger that you've played with or against. Does anything stick out? I just love hearing all the sledge stories.
Well, Dean Solomon was pretty good back in the day.
Did you play with him at both clubs as well?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of Essendon and Freo connection. Hey.
Yeah. He was. He was as tough as you'd
yeah.
get. He was, and a pretty scary dude on the field. So,
Yeah.
he was reasonably good. I'm trying to remember the fella he was giving it to. It might have been Ryan Griffin, and he was calling him Cyclops because his eyes were.
That's a great call from Ryan Griffin.
Yeah,
That's a fucking great call.
and he was calling.
Did he cry?
Yeah, just out of one eye.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Tarrant one day were playing Port Adelaide, and he was giving it to. Do you remember Dean Brogan?
Yes,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
big,
fucking
big Johnny.
huge.
Oh, they'll call him
Johnny
Roger
Ramjet.
Ramjet.
Roger Ramjet.
Yeah, and it was quite.
He looked like a
yes.
mascot.
Yeah, he looked like Johnny Bravo, or he did look like the Port Adelaide mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was, he was really good at it. Like Ryan Crowley was he did the tagging and copped a fair bit, but he also dished a fair bit
Off
out.
the field, it was quite nice, Krause.
Yeah.
Any time I'd see him out and about,
Yeah.
he was always a nice guy.
So Collingwood Geelong, who do we think?
Collingwood by a point.
Well, it's only going to be by a
Yeah.
point, isn't it? Because that's
Yeah.
all they win by.
If Collingwood win under a goal.
I fucking hate Geelong.
Yes.
I hate the way they play.
Same.
I hate fucking everything about them. Every time I've had a punt, they fuck my punts. Richmond should have done them, but they rely, I've said it over and over, they rely on the same fucking 5 guys to win them the game, and that's it. They get Danger, Selwood, fucking Tom Stewart, and insert 2 others, and the rest of the
Duffy.
team do fuck all.
Yeah. I couldn't think of anything worse seeing him in the grand final again.
Slow.
So,
I think Geelong pump them.
You reckon?
yeah, I think it's going to be that or the other one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Geelong pump or Collingwood win by,
Yeah.
less than a goal.
Because it could be that season where they've just had this great...
How
great
annoyed
run.
would
Very
you,
much like West Coast in the 2015 year.
would you be annoyed if you're Geelong? Because they're playing
pulling-
at the MCG.
Yeah.
Yeah, they obviously want Cardinia Park
Yeah.
or whatever it's called now, but
GM.
Well, take away
Cardinia
Cardinia Park and Geelong aren't as great as they have been.
You could have said that about the Eagles and Dockers for a while, I guess.
Well,
but-
can't say that about Eagles for a good 3-4 years.
Yeah. And then probably for me, the match of the round, Sydney and Melbourne.
That's a hard one because Sydney had their number earlier in the year. I think they beat them.
So
yeah.
I'm on the Sydney bandwagon for finals. That's a team I'm going to jump. I'm an Eagles supporter, so I'll and Freo. I'll go with a bit of home team.
What does a professional reckon?
But I want Sydney to win. So maybe that's my heart wants Sydney to win, but I think they can win.
Well, I think Melbourne and Geelong play in the grand final. So
Geelong.
however that sort of...
That's my worst case scenario.
They're the best two teams for the year. I think it's going to take an incredible effort for one of the other guys to jump up.
It's just, their first, second on the ladder. They've got the best. All they have to do is basically win this week.
Yeah.
And then they're going to get... it can potentially be that.
So who do you think does win the grand final? Who do you want?
I think
who do you want and who do you think?
I don't know why, but I want Richmond
really
to make it.
For Dusty?
Just because the way they play is when they came to West Coast and pumped us by 100, my mate knows one of the coaches there, they said they were just going to revert back to the way they play, which was that knock on, fucking kick goals.
Yeah.
I like the way they play. They're attacking, the surge. They're exciting to watch. And I just think from where they've come from, it would be good. Okay. I don't know why I'm saying this out loud, but there's something in me that likes to see Richmond.
I'm in agreement. Yeah. I'm feeling that way.
I'd like to see a Richmond Freo Grandy.
Really?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. But I have doubts that Freo are going to get over the Dogs this week. But we'll see. It's good because I've got no conviction on any of those games, which I think is good for the competition.
Who do you think, Flag?
Melbourne or Geelong. If it's a Melbourne-Geelong grand final at the MCG.
Yeah. I'm sort of thinking Geelong, but I do think once Melbourne get their mojo up, their best is the best. But I don't know. Geelong just done so much right. So
yeah, but they did the same thing last year, right? Geelong and the year before.
Geelong looks a lot better.
They might be due.
Yeah.
yeah. That's probably the thing.
Yeah, I feel bad for Brisbane because Brisbane probably missed their chance last year and the year before.
Yep.
Where they just coughed up the game against the Bulldogs where they lost by a point. I think it was the Bulldogs, 2 points.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to back in Freo to get there.
Yeah?
Yep.
Freo Richmond or Freo Sydney?
Freo Melbourne.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's possible in certain ways because one will have to lose the other way. But Freo Melbourne, that's what I'm going to call.
Freo Melbourne.
That would be a good.
And then Melbourne beat Freo. Poor Freo.
Yeah.
Forever a bridesmaid.
Well, the best thing is I think almost anyone can win.
I want Sydney to win.
Almost anyone can win. But historically...
It's like that year when Bulldogs came from outside the top 4 to win.
Yeah.
It's and the week off helps the teams that sort of don't have that double chance.
Yeah, statistically, they showed it the other night on 360. That little bye now has made an impact on whether the team. Generally, it was pretty.
Given that it was going to be someone from
the top four. Yeah, we're going to make. Now it's not. It's. I don't think since they've introduced that, it's only happened once.
Yeah,
I think they were saying last night. So statistically, it actually helps.
But Bulldogs and Freo are still getting hammies. So
they've
done something on the Saturday.
Fremantle have always had like soft tissue injury problems. Was that while you were there as well? Did you find that?
Oh, not really. I was probably hoping for a few, so I'd get there. I don't think it
Chris Dorman, was he your?
Yeah.
He was. So we've had him on the pod as well, but he was your strength coach then, and he's fucking elite.
Oh, he's
maybe that's why. As soon as he left,
he's down in Albany now.
Yeah, he's a genius, and he's Corey's mentor. So that he basically runs his whole fitness program on that. That's why I don't think West Perth have had almost any. They've had a couple minor ones, but soft tissue has been just nothing. It comes down to your strength and conditioning. Yeah. And there you go. Fucking old mate that Freo did the job.
Speaking of Freo, I just wanted to ask as well something that we forgot. When you did have to quit footy, what was that like for you, for someone that's played from when you're 17, you've been delisted once, got basically forced to retire with the knee? Then did you know what you wanted to do? Were you going to go back to the trade? Were you going to go into coaching like now? Or what was your thoughts? Because at 28, like you're still young. You're still pretty much a baby, which we forget.
And you're sort of 8 years behind your schoolmates. They've all done their electrical apprenticeships and now they're owning their own businesses and stuff like that. So back when I got drafted, you actually weren't allowed to study that 1 day a week, and you weren't allowed to sort of go out and do sheet metal apprenticeship or electrical apprenticeship one day.
Who's that been brought in through the Players Association?
Yeah. So
I think that's quite backwards.
My first year there, I sort of wanted to continue the sheet metal stuff, but but they sort of
No,
said,
you, no, you didn't.
Was Branchy a mentor?
11 years of sheet metal.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
But it's sort of, it was of the opinion that we're paying you to play footy, so you're going to be playing footy. So, but it did change sort of in my second or third year. It strongly got encouraged to study and that sort of thing. But the thing with that was as I said earlier, like I left school because I didn't like studying, I didn't like being in a classroom.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic suspension disorder.
And so like they sort of said, we got 1 day a week to study. So it was one of those ones where I sort of just ticked off all my coaching.
Yeah, cool.
Started to do some sort of strength and conditioning stuff. And it wasn't until I did my knee where I sort of, in my last year of footy, I sort of helped the guys down at Peel, Matt Tabernas and Michael Apinis, who isn't there anymore, Alex Pearce, who's still there, and try to help them as much as I can sort of through the Peel program and help coach them and develop them. And
well, you've done something right with Tabs because he went from Crabinar to fucking gun.
He's
took
gone
ages to develop, but
and he always had that. He always had that in him. He just needed some time and to be able to string it through. And he has now. I mean, last year I think he had a ripping season. This year's sort of been injury hampered. But it wasn't until then where I was like, wow, I wouldn't mind continuing to be involved in footy. Now, if you ask my teammates, 10 years ago, do you reckon Kep would still be in footy? They'd say a strong no.
That's the reputation I heard of you, Kep, is from the Kingsley boys and from the West Perth lads. It's like you were the lad, you were not the full footy professional.
Because I love seeing
I
love seeing this Kep.
The
Triple M radio interviewing Kimberly Kep, just stay straight and narrow, but I know the Kep as well on the other side.
So and I get
which is a lovely man. He's a lovely.
I get great satisfaction out of people getting the most out of themselves on the field and off the field, and then sort of joined Claremont and became the footy manager, and that's all you want to hope for the players is to ultimately win a premiership. That's cool, but you just try and make good people, and you see people sort of in and out of the reserves team and their careers on a bit of a fine edge, but then they sort of stick with it and now they're playing week in, week out league and you sort of give them a pat on the back and it's those sort of stories that keep you going, I suppose. Because premierships are, they're very hard to come by, but those sort of little successes you have keep you in footy.
Yeah.
Well, your sniff this year, obviously. Obviously not the greatest sniff. The West Perth Falcons sit atop of the ladder, but it's
the Perth Demons are coming.
It is a
2040.
It is a very a tight race, and it is one of those years where both your teams are at the top. Same with West Perth, so there's always going to be hard luck stories. I feel like those hard luck stories build more resilience within a team, and we've had a pretty bad couple of hard luck stories over the last month or so at our club, and I'm sure Claremont will as well. But that breeds success. If your coach has to make these tough decisions where a gun player is playing reserves, that's when I'd say
you're a waffle player or you're an amateur player,
and that's where you win. That's when you win flags.
Yeah, and it happens at AFL level. Like they go through the same issues, and even at ammo level, they have same issues. There's always someone that misses out that you try to hope to squeeze them in.
Who was your favourite player or the player other than yourself at Essendon and then at Freo? That was that guy that was either the hard worker that was just really unlucky, kind of like a Schofield at West Coast where he was always in and out, or someone that you thought didn't get really a fair run at it.
Kepler Bradley.
No, the one that springs to mind at Freo is probably Matt De Boer. Like I played a lot of footy with Matt, and he did play a lot of games at Freo, but then ultimately got delisted, and he if you asked him, I reckon he'd put his hand up and go, he thought his career was done, and then he's gone to GWS and done some terrific things over there for a number of years, and I think he would have played about 120 games with Freo, and then he's gone over and played another 90 or so with GWS. But he was a guy that he wasn't overly great at kicking. He wasn't overly fast. He wasn't agility probably wasn't overly great. But his attention to detail to study a player and then play that role and play on him and know their strengths, and he was a real student of the game.
Super committed.
And if you were going to war tomorrow, he'd be the first one. Yeah. He'd be the first one picked. He's.
I remember I accidentally offended him when we were out One of my really good girl mates, Jess Duncan, married Tendai.
Yep.
Mazunga, and Tendai.
He's a ripper?
Yeah, he's a great bloke.
Yeah.
When we're at Hippie Club, just having a laugh, like I kind of was like, oh, fucking that Matt DeBoer bloke's pretty shit, pretending that I didn't know it was him, and he got pretty mad. I was just saying it for a laugh, and I really offended him, and I was like, oh my God, what an asshole. I should have.
And he's a super nice guy.
Yeah, he was super nice.
You've triggered something. But he's also a super strong guy too.
Yeah. I was like, I was having a laugh, but I probably hadn't built that rapport enough to make the joke. It was something along those lines, just like a little tiny riff, and I saw it. I really offended. I felt fucking horrible. I was like, oh mate, no, sorry. Like I didn't obviously fucking rate you.
Classic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We got one more. Where did you meet your misso? Was that while playing AFL or after?
No, I just I was. I just did my knee, and I actually. I forget what's the New Year's Day
Marquee, yeah.
Oh no, Cuban Club
or Marquee. They're kind of competitive.
So I just came out of a cubicle. It was about 2 p.m. and I've run into the cubicle to do
shave your head.
I was actually not well and I was throwing up. And then
from the night before.
Oh, just from the activities that were currently happening.
Yeah. That is the best response. The activities currently happening.
That's what the training does.
Yeah, that's good.
And I went there and sort of cleared my throat and chucked up a couple of times, and then I actually sort of 4 steps later bumped into her and had a chat about Had a chat about stuff and grabbed her and started dancing, and then before you know it, you're married.
That's
so
great.
And
she supports.
To this day, I can't believe she couldn't smell spew on.
She supports you. What your endeavours now?
Yeah, she does. It's just it is time consuming at waffle level. Like you're sort of there at 9 a.m. and then you sort of Monday. We train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you sort of get home at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
and then match committee's Wednesday night, so 9 p.m. and it's sort of, and then Saturday you're full.
Is this your day off?
No, yesterday was.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
have you got ambitions to go back to AFL?
Yeah. So I was going to say this is West. this is
Claremont are listening. No, it is my day off.
Have you got ambitions to go to AFL level, or is that going to be too much on family stress and life, or are you happy where you are, or you want to keep going up?
I do have some ambitions to eventually reach AFL. When I came out of the AFL, I sort of needed that time, and I've been out now for 7 or 8 years, so you sort of need that time just to. For me anyway, just to reset and chill out a little bit and find your feet. And now I'm getting to a point now where, it is of interest to to slowly, if it's a development coach or in admin or something like that, it's sort of something I'm starting to think about. So
we'll just tag hashtag AFL on all the clips. Hashtag Kept for Coach 2023.
Essendon.
You've got to sort that cult thing out too. So as I said, I'm happy to sit on lay on the four chairs.
Just straight across. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll hit up the front bar and be like, well, you have a glaring omission.
But
was there one more?
There was one
question.
Yeah, there was one more question. It's a bit hard. It was. What does it feel like?
Can be a non-comment.
What does it feel like to have never played in an AFL premiership?
Oh, yeah, fucking incredible.
That's what I mean. Like, it's been like, oh, cheers. Some of the greatest never played.
Correct. Yeah, and they're very hard to come by in any level. I played in one in 2003 with West Perth and never played in one since. So it's, obviously you want to play in a premiership, but was unable to. But as you say, there's some gun players that have played 400 games of footy and never played in one. So
Nick Rewalt, obviously.
I won't lose sleep over it.
Yeah. That was the viewer questions.
What's the worst injury you've played through? That's one that popped in mind, because thinking about all the great players that got to play, and I just remember what Dale Morris did for 4 weeks with a broken back. My back is broken, spinal. Played for 4 weeks with a broken back.
Really?
Yeah, and then that thing he did in the last quarter that caused Tom Boyd to kick the goal that won it for him, where he drilled Buddy.
He had a broken back when he did that.
Spinal. Yeah, his back was broken.
Fuck.
He played for 4 weeks.
My back was broken.
Yeah.
It's spinal.
And the other thing is, like, we jump on players, oh, he's fucking shit. Like, Caniglio last year obviously was injured, and everyone's like, oh, no, he's done. He's been playing. Then this year he comes out and he just shows how good he is again.
Yeah.
Is there something you played with that was horrible, or a teammate that would always play injured and cop unfair criticism? But
there's guys that you're rarely 100%, but there's I remember Roger Hayden. And I don't know the small bone in your lower leg, but that was fractured in a game at
Is that
Sydney.
tibia or fibia?
One of the two.
Tibia is at the front. Tibula. I think.
Tibula.
Tibia and fibula. Yeah. So he's fractured a
We
plate.
don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I used to know. But I think
it used to be a
tibia
science
and
teacher.
fibula's at the back, I think.
Yeah, okay.
No, he got a knock there in the start of the first quarter and played the game out. So he was really sore and that sort of thing. It wasn't until we got to Perth and scanned it and it was actually fractured.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
like, how the hell have you done that? How have you played? I played a game at Sydney and I dived for a ball and Adam Goods, who fucking had a habit of doing this.
Who?
Adam Goods.
Who's that?
But he used to slide him knees first.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he got me in the ribs and I had a punctured lung.
Oh, fuck.
And I'd coughing up blood. And so I went to hospital and then I wasn't allowed to fly. So I drove 9 hours or whatever it was to Melbourne.
But you played the whole game or you went off?
No, I came off, but I played the next week.
Wow.
And against Bulldogs, actually, and went for a sort of a 50-50 ball and got hit again and blood started to come out.
Oh, fuck.
But I didn't tell anyone.
Oh, fuck.
Because you're young and dumb and you're
Yeah.
20, 21 years old and you're getting to play like AFL footy and I just sort of didn't tell anyone. So I was playing with a lacerated or punctured lung for probably 2 or 3 weeks until it mended.
So what's the treatment? Just fix itself?
Yeah, eventually it just stopped.
Fucking
I
hell.
stopped bleeding when I hit things. But they're the sorts of things when you're young, and you know most footy players go through it. When you sort of you're trying to get a game of footy, you eventually get one, and then you get hurt, and you sort of think, "Fuck, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'll just try and play through it."
Yeah.
It's not until when you get older you're sort of a bit more wiser, and you can pull yourself out of certain situations. But I think I would have played probably 2 or 3 weeks when I shouldn't have, and
Fuck.
but a lot of. Almost everyone sort of goes through it and does it. But and Caniglio's, he's had a shocking season last year, and whatever happened was going on with his body. But this year he's returned back to the way.
Like he's a leader again as well.
Yeah, or even Cripps last year. Yeah. Everyone's like, Cripps is fucking... He was playing with a broken back.
Yeah.
For the first 6 weeks or
And you
something.
hear about Nat Fyfe, when they last played finals and he played a game with a broken leg.
Yeah.
Sort of. And,
Insane.
And heavily contributed, which doesn't surprise me. But
Stevie Baker with a broken foot as well. And then...
Or McGovern played a
McGovern.
Grand final.
Grand final with a
Punctured lung. Yeah, punctured lung, broken ribs and stuff.
And broken ribs.
Yeah.
I didn't break my ribs. Yeah.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
But no, they put themselves through a fair bit. So, yeah.
But for all Claremont boys, if you're injured,
Put your hand up.
put your hand up.
Sick.
What about the West Perth blokes?
Nah.
Just play through?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're we've got a couple at the
that'd
moment.
be
I'm trying not to
interesting to
give
see.
away too much
Yeah,
information because it's a rival
Yeah.
over there. But had a couple of snags. But anyway,
Beautiful.
Thanks so much for coming
Yeah,
on, Kev.
awesome.
Really
Cheers.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Things to plug. Do you want to plug anything? Anything about the footy club or...
No. Just anyone out there. I mean, Waffle Finals is coming up, so
Yep.
Yeah.
grab
around it.
a team and
Grand
go and
finals
watch.
after the week after AFL Grand Final.
Yeah, it'll be on
Nice.
a Saturday at Leederville, 2nd of October, I think. But
Good. You have lots of people there, surely, with no footy to compete with.
And you'd think
Yeah.
the little Leederville precinct there, they can have a beer and some food.
So what is it? If it's a 15,000 capacity, it'll sell its 15,000 and feel bigger than 30,000 in Optus.
Yeah,
So,
correct. Yeah.
I liked that one. Obviously, it was a bad day for you guys losing, but the
Subi?
South Freo,
Phenomenal.
the vibe was incredible. Like I was there filming and doing some stuff for you guys, and went over to the other side and just sat in
Was
the
that
crowd.
at Freo Oval?
At South
that's a
Freo.
great oval.
So South Freo had a home game.
Yeah, they had a home grand final.
But in saying that, the I think there might have been 12,000 people there or whatever it was, and it was insane. It was, outstanding.
Just
And
felt
I've
incredible.
been to Optus Stadium and last year watching South and Subi, and there were 30,000 there, but you couldn't. Yeah, the atmosphere didn't add up to what it was a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. So.
Freo's oval is just fucking great.
Yeah,
It's
well,
so close. It's
almost
lush.
almost all of the grounds, aside from Claremont, can hold probably 15,000 ish, and you get them in there. Like arena, obviously, you can do it at a Pentanet Stadium at Joondalup, but Bassendean, they're all good. Like if you had a grand final there, the atmosphere would be that. Actually, that's one thing I am jealous of is the Swan District's Cam Bar. It looks incredible.
They do a good job out there.
Every fucking week, it's just packed full of people. It's their Cam Bar's
And
good.
Perth, you one day.
You'll get there, Perth.
So if any Sydney listeners, I need you to come and support me Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
33 years single. Apparently, Marrickville doesn't get too much foot traffic, so I've done 8 pre-sale as of past last weekend, which is fucking insane. So got a 50-seater. So if you can come and fill it in, that'll be amazing. I got 2 pre-sale for Sunday. I haven't checked it since. So I might be doing my first show to 2 people.
Maybe just mention it in pre-roll because that might we'll get it a bit earlier.
Yeah, cool. And then, if you're in Queenstown next week for Snow Machine, hit us up.
Sick. So I'm hosting Delby's Quiz tonight and I guess next week now as well?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Supposed to be in Meriden.
Okay, well, we can find someone.
We'll figure that out. But I'll be hosting quizzes in Joondalup. Paddy Malone's, if you want to come for a pint of Guinness.
I guess since it's AFL, we're doing an AFL quiz at the Alfred on the 19th. So if you're not watching the Brownlow, 19th of September at the Alfred.
And I've foregone hosting at Camfield because I want to drink piss.
Oh, yeah.
On AFL Grand Final day.
I'll be hosting the corporate luncheon at Camfield. So if you want to get there, I think they're going to try to get Scully and Masto maybe.
Okay, cool.
So we'll see.
Perfect.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheer up. Thanks,